Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, September 6, 2024. Government has reaffirmed its commitment to improving the infrastructure of the island's courts with this week's handing over of the newly refurbished St. Anne Family Court. The facility was retrofitted by the Justice Ministry at a cost of $90.87 million. It features updated courtrooms, judges' chambers, office spaces, welfare and restroom facilities, a lobby, and child-friendly waiting and holding areas. Portfolio Minister Delroy Chuck says even more court rehabilitation is coming in short order.
So, certainly over the next few months, we have the resources. We are going to make sure that the courts are properly maintained, that the air conditions work, the elevators work, all the various electronic equipment work, because it is appropriate that justice should be considered and delivered in a convenient and comfortable surroundings.
Meanwhile, Minister Delroy Chuck is expressing concern that restorative justice officers are not being sufficiently utilized by the judicial system. He says there needs to be greater integration of restorative justice practices in court proceedings.
And we have trained here, judges, several restorative justice officers. They're underutilized because not that many cases come from the courts. We're hoping more of these cases will come from the community. Just like mediation, and I must explain, restorative justice is not mediation. It is something that is oftentimes, mixed up. Restorative justice is really where there's an abuse, an offense.
He says the ministry will be engaging with parish court judges to explain the differences so they can determine which cases require restorative justice or ought to be addressed through mediation.
So the Ministry of Justice will be working closely with the judiciary to ensure that we get what Chief called therapeutic justice. Restorative justice, victim services, and child diversion and drug cases. All of these we want to work closely so that when people come to the court and after a period of time they can be healed and they can start restoring relationship amongst themselves and within the community.
The Justice Minister was speaking at Wednesday's official handover ceremony for the refurbished St. Anne Family Court. More than 163,000 persons, or about 6.3% of the Jamaican population who have a visual disability, are expected to benefit significantly from the country becoming a party to the Marrakesh Treaty. Jamaica acceded to the Marrakesh Treaty to facilitate access to published works for persons who are blind, visually impaired, or otherwise print disabled on August 28. It calls for the country to modify its copyright laws to allow blind, visually impaired, and other print disabled persons to create accessible copies of published works without needing permission from copyright holders. Executive Director of the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, Lily Claire Bellamy, explains that this must be done through authorized bodies.
These are the bodies that are legally entitled and allowed to facilitate the cross-border exchange. So it's not just the ordinary person who can do the cross-border exchange. They have to go through one of these authorized bodies. So it is a system that has parameters in place. So it's not just a free riding system, but it is a safe system so that those who need to get access will have access.
During a recent JIS think tank, Industry Minister Senator Aubin Hill reaffirmed his position that it will enhance the education and employability of this group within society.
Less than 1% of persons with disabilities in Jamaica are employed, and individuals with disabilities are they face significant barriers to education, primarily due to the lack of accessibility of material for them to learn from. This treaty represents a significant advancement in promoting inclusivity and access to knowledge for one of the most vulnerable groups in our society.
Persons can now make payments to acquire their police record through Tax Administration Jamaica (TAJ's) mobile app found on the Google Play Store. The app previously only allowed for persons to pay property tax, fitness fees, and traffic tickets.
Very easy for you to follow the steps in making your payments. Once that is done, the application will actually send you a notification to say that you have successfully done your transaction. And then following that, you will actually get two notices. You'll actually get one from your bank, from the application, to say that your bank transaction has been completed. And then the second one that you will get is from Tax Administration's application now, which will say that you have been successful, and you will actually get what we call a statement of payment with a reference number on it, and that's the reference number that you will use here forward.
Signing up is free and is currently available on Android phones and tablets. The National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, will be conducting cleanup activities at two prominent locations for this year's International Coastal Cleanup Day observation. This annual global event, which champions the preservation of oceans and coastlines, will take place on September 21 at the Palisadoes Shipwreck in Port Royal. Then on September 22, they will be at the Half Moon Bay Beach in St. Catherine. Activities start at 7 a.m. on both days. NEPA is inviting members of the public to come out and help remove debris and litter from the shores to help safeguard the country's marine ecosystems. To register or obtain more information, please reach out to NEPA's representative, Ebonique Blair, at eboniqueblair@nepa.gov.jm or by calling 876-754-7540, extension 3118. Both group and individual registrations are encouraged. And finally, a floral tribute will be held on Saturday at National Heroes Park in Kingston to commemorate the 105th anniversary of the birth of the Honorable Louise Bennett Coverley. The Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, JCDC, is organizing the event, along with other activities happening across various parishes. Director of Events Management and Production at the JCDC, Gregory Sims, explains why the cultural icon, lovingly called Miss Lou, continues to be worthy of such recognition.
The way she connected with social issues at the time, the way she used comedy to express important emotions and stories, and the way she just gave us good commentary is very important in us identifying ourselves as Jamaicans within the world and connecting with each other.
Ms. Lou was born on September 7, 1919 and passed away on July 26, 2006 in Canada. She was buried at the National Heroes Park in a section reserved for cultural icons. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.